Before I jumped on YouTube, I got laid off from a job I had been doing for over a decade. It was a remote job. I was teaching architecture at a college in the US. And I got laid off really suddenly, abruptly. And so I was kind of in a panic, but I also, in a lot of ways, manifested that layoff because I'd been wanting to quit that job for probably 5 years. There was no more growth. I'm a mother of 3, and I had just kind of hit the wall with mothering and parenting. And nothing wrong with that at all. But for me, it was just like, it really was thrown in my face, like, who am I now? Because I'm not the person I was before I had children. And so I just felt very just like floating, like, who am I now? And getting on YouTube was like my savior. I found my creative outlet again. I found I was rediscovering myself. It's the best personal development tool out there. You have to put yourself out there. I was connecting so much with the community. They were leaving such beautiful comments, and I never expected that. I never expected to have such a deep connection with people through YouTube. I mean, it energized me so much. Even though, I was exhausted, it was so energizing to stay up till like 2 a.m. editing videos. It was such a thrill. And I just rediscovered myself, and I found my voice again, because when I could come to the camera and speak, I was just me. And my biggest passion in life was to show people their potential, show them their brilliance and their light by sharing my light.
Welcome to the Sock Door Podcast, where life is messy, but we always find meaning in it. Every week we pull out the stories, the lessons, and the hidden gems. And then we ask the big question, keep it or kick it? If you're ready for real talk, brave steps forward. I'm your host, Lisa Begley, and you're listening to the Sock Drawer Podcast. Let's jump right in. Hey, hello, Sock Drawer family. Real quick, I just have to give you a real life moment. Before we dive in, Alexa and I actually started this conversation once already, and life and technology had other plans. So we decided to hit reset, start fresh, and give you the full story from the beginning to end, because this conversation deserves it. Thank you, Alexa, for letting me do this do-over with you. Have you ever, YouTube listeners, watched someone on YouTube and thought, I could do that, but where do I even start? I have. And what if the gap between you and the creator you admire, it isn't talent, it's permission? Today's conversation is for anyone who's felt the pull to create, to teach, to share what they know, but needs clarity, courage, and just a simple place to begin. Sock Drawer family, I'm Lisa, and today we're talking about one of the biggest reinvention questions out there. My guest is Alexa Saarenoja, YouTube strategist, creator, coach, who helps purpose-driven people turn their lived experience into meaningful, sustainable creator businesses on YouTube. And I want to share a quick personal note here. I've worked with a lot of people on YouTube. When I first started this process back in February, I went through the YouTube space and I went through a lot of people. And when I met Alexa, I knew immediately she was different. She's calm, clear, honest, trustworthy, and genuinely invested in helping people start, especially those who think they're too late. Alexa, thank you for being here. I'm so excited to do this over. Welcome to the Sock Drawer Podcast family.
Yeah, thank you. It's lovely to be here. And thank you for that kind intro.
It's so deserved. Listen, I've not met anybody like you on YouTube, and it shows in your community that I'm a part of, and I'm so grateful. I decided to switch over to podcasting and not stay so focused on YouTube. And a lot of that came from your advice and help as well. So let's take it back, because we kind of said we're going to do a reset. Who were you before YouTube became a part of your life? You could share that with us.
Okay, the good, the bad, or the pretty? I was just kidding.
All of it. We want it all.
Well, before I jumped on YouTube, I got laid off from a job I had been doing for over a decade. It was a remote job. I live in Finland. I'm an American, but I live in Finland. And I was teaching architecture at a college in the US. And I got laid off really suddenly, abruptly, 2 weeks before the semester was supposed to start. And so I was kind of in a panic, but I also, in a lot of ways, manifested that layoff because I'd been wanting to quit that job for probably 5 years. I mean, it was a great job. It's just, I was doing the same thing over and over again. It was like Groundhog Day. There was no more growth, I was just teaching the same courses over and over again. And I felt even though it was a creative job, architecture is very creative, it just felt stifling or stale or something like that. And then also, I'm a mother of 3, and I had just kind of hit the wall with mothering and parenting, and, I just had been in that zone for so long that when my architecture identity or my business identity was kind of stripped from me so quickly, then I was just all mother. And nothing wrong with that at all. But for me, it was just like, it really was thrown in my face, like, who am I now? Because I'm not the person I was before I had children. And like my design career wasn't gone. I could still do it, but I wasn't called to do it anymore. And so I just felt very just like floating, like, who am I now? And getting on YouTube was like my savior, because it allowed me, well, also living in Finland, I'm in a bubble because I don't speak the language, and I don't really like to make people speak English, although most Finns speak English beautifully. They're taught from like the second grade up. But I'm still like in a bubble. I worked remotely for the US. I had my own business for many years. So I just never really, I was not really in society here so much. So anyway, my point is, when I got on YouTube, I found my creative outlet again. I found I was rediscovering myself. It's the best personal development tool out there. You have to put yourself out there. You have to overcome these hurdles of fear. And then I was connecting so much with the community. They were leaving such beautiful comments, and I never expected that. I never expected to have such a deep connection with people through YouTube. I almost thought it would be the opposite. I thought it would be like full of trolls and keyboard warriors, and that's so not true. And I think that also has a lot to do with the content you're presenting and the value you're bringing to YouTube, whether or not people treat you a certain way. And it was just so beautiful. I got to speak with adults again. It was so nice because, I lost my job where I spoke with adults, and then the rest of the day was just kid, and parenting and being at home and stuff. And so it was just a great outlet to be creative, to meet other people around the world and interact and have different conversations and inspire people and be inspiring again and feel inspired. I mean, it energized me so much, even though, I was exhausted. Having 3 kids is exhausting. Of course, they're young little kids. Well, I have one that's a teen now, but they're young, and so they need a lot of attention. They don't sleep at night, and you're run down as a mom, you're Wonder Woman, right? You're doing all these different things. And so even though I was exhausted, it was so energizing to stay up till like 2 a.m. editing videos. It was such a thrill. And then post the video and then get these comments from all these people around the world. It just really, it just energized me, is the best way to say it. And I just rediscovered myself, and I found my voice again, because when I could come to the camera and speak, I was just me. It wasn't like work me. It wasn't mom me. It wasn't wife me. It was me. And my desire is my biggest passion in life, which is why I got into teaching, was to show people their potential, show them their brilliance and their light by sharing my light. And so it was just like the perfect platform for that. And so that's the full story, I guess. It's kind of a lot there.
I love that full story. That feeling of losing pieces of your identity, it resonates with so many people who are listening. So, I mean, let's talk about what shifted, because I'm curious to know what made YouTube itself feel like the right place to begin. So many people are asking this question, and they're not sure. Just a quick story, I think I shared this with you. When I first navigated to YouTube, I did it because I felt like it was a little bit more of this is going to sound terrible, but a legitimate platform, or something a little bit more real, I think, or more professional. I don't know how to say it, but I think what made me feel like YouTube, I could get a message out there to people that was a little bit more of a place where people come to look for that, right? They're not just scrolling just to look for fun, put a little laughter in their life for a minute or whatever, like on social media. They're looking for something specific on YouTube. So for you, what made YouTube feel like the right place to begin?
Well, I tried a few things before that, actually. When I got laid off, I wrote a book first. I had always been wanting to write a book, so I wrote a book. I tried, I was like, well, I'm a designer, so maybe I do like print on demand. So I tried print on demand. I started an Etsy store, and then I quickly realized I don't want to be in control of merchandise and products and returns and all that stuff. So I turned away from that. And I had started YouTube channel when my second child was born. And so a few years back, and I really enjoyed it. And I've also posted on YouTube for my students, like videos. So I was very familiar with YouTube. And like you said, it's more reputable somehow, or it's more serious. It's more like an education space. There's a lot of entertainment, of course, but if you want to do education, I think it's one of the better platforms. It's not like I'm going to go on Instagram and have like a long course or like a long dialogue or something with people. I mean, you can, of course, but so same thing. I think I was just drawn to it because I'm a teacher by nature, but that's the platform I go to if I want to learn something. I don't try to learn from TikTok or learn from Instagram, or I learn from YouTube. If I need to learn something, I go there, and then I find people to learn from, and then I usually end up buying their courses or their coaching, but that's where I tend to go. And so I think that's why I was drawn to it. And yeah, and I had done it in the past, so I think it was just a natural. I have Instagram and stuff like that, but it's so quick. Like Instagram is like, you have to post like daily, and being a mom, it was just not going to happen. Yeah. So I think that's why I was drawn to it. Like you said, it feels more professional. It feels more serious. It feels more like a educational space. So
yeah, like a platform where you're helping people, or you can help people. Not that you can't do that. I agree so much. And at what point, like, did YouTube kind of stop feeling like an experiment? Because you tried, even when you got to YouTube, you tried a couple of different things. Same. I was all over the place. When did it start feeling more like a path? When did you decide, gosh, I'm doing this, I'm going to help other people figure out how to do this?
Yeah, well, I did when I first got to YouTube, before I posted a video, I took Sean Cannell's Video Ranking Academy course. And it was just talking about like determine what your niche is. And it was like cross with your passion, your purpose, and profit, like what you could make money with. And I needed to make money because I was laid off, and I wanted to make this my full-time job. And so I think naturally I just was like writing down what I was good at and what I knew how to do and those types of things. And being a teacher and having worked online, I've created many courses online. I've worked with students overseas all the time. Like that's how I did my remote job of teaching college students, was online. So I just kind of was like, okay, I want to teach something. And there was some things I was like, maybe I do personal development, maybe I do shamanic journeying. I don't know. But I was at that moment, I was learning how to do YouTube. And I was inspired by Silver and Solo. She was doing YouTube and showing her journey on YouTube. And so I was like, well, I can share my journey of going to monetization, because that was my goal. I was like, maybe I can get monetized and become wildly wealthy with YouTube AdSense. So didn't realize, so naive, but can't live off of that. At least not with the amount of views I get.
You were looking.
Yeah, I was inspired by her and her monetization journey, and I was like, well, I'll just share that, and I'll teach everything I'm learning from Sean Cannell and everywhere else, all the other resources that work for me on my channel. And it was like I just kind of fell into it, but it worked really well. And I really wanted to inspire people, because when I got on YouTube, like I said, I had such positive experience like with the community and people, and so I just wanted to share that with people, because that's not what I thought it was going to be like. Yeah. I really thought it was going to be more scary, more trolls and all that. And so I was just very passionate about it. I was like, you have to, like I said to it in many of my videos, like YouTube is the new midlife crisis, because it allowed me to just rediscover myself. It allowed me to, develop personal development, all this stuff. So yeah, that's, I don't know, try and trail off with that comment, but that's how I stumbled into YouTube growth. Yeah.
That is the part that it really draws people in. It drew me in. Like, that's the part that people are really curious about, right? You grew your channel it's still growing. It's every day I see it. And it's a testament to your genuineness and how you treat people. Your channel grew quickly. What do you think in the beginning? What actually fueled that growth?
I think it was honesty, authenticity. Like I had nothing to sell. I had nothing to lose, to be honest. And it was like a place where it almost was like the camera became my best friend. It's kind of weird, but like, it was like, I was rediscovering myself, and I knew who I was, but I didn't know where I was going. And I just shared that. I just shared everything I was experiencing, and all the wins, all the weird moments, all the icky moments on YouTube. Like, cause you're taught to do things a certain way, and you're like, you do those things with, you're like, that's not me. And then you go back to alignment with who you are and stuff like that. So I shared all those moments. And I think that when you're not like selling stuff, I sell stuff now, of course, but you're not like, I just wanted to provide value, and I wanted to show up like, this is like, I'm a real person. This is what's really happening for me. And I'm like successfully growing this channel. I'm successfully building a business. And I just wanted to show like an actual representation of that, because so much on YouTube is so dramatic and over the top. And you're like, what is even real? And so like, I shared my screen. I showed my analytics. I showed my income. I showed everything. And still some people don't believe you, but it's okay. But I feel like, yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, is not be afraid to show who you are, because if you show who you are, you will attract people like you, and everything will work better. If you try to show up as someone you're not, you're going to attract people that are not like you because they're attracted to that person that you're pretending to be, but that's not you. So you're going to have like this moment of like tension. It's just not going to work as well. It's not going to be as fluid. So I think that's the biggest thing is like, be authentic, be who you are. Don't be afraid of who you are. Be proud of who you are. Be confident to show up that you have good ideas, you have lived experience, especially in our age group, midlife and beyond. Like we have lived a lot of life. We have experienced a lot of things and we have a lot to say, and we can provide a lot of advice to people. Granted, I was learning something, so I was just sharing what I was learning. I was like a knowledge reporter is what they call it, like taking what I was learning and just sharing it and using my skills of teaching to share that. But if you have an experience, like you've been a therapist for 20 years or you've been in finance for 20 years, like just come and share. And it's like a perfect platform for that.
Yeah. And it'll start to evolve. That is so true. Well, so let me ask you this. How important do you feel? Because this is where I think a lot of people, myself included, get kind of, they're trying to put a strategy together. They're trying to figure out what is my niche. They're trying in the very beginning. How important was community versus strategy?
Community is huge. I think a lot of people don't even pay attention to community. I get comments all the time like, you're the only YouTuber I know that even mentions community. And I think community is huge. I really do, because your early adopters, like your first fans are usually your most loyal fans, and they will give you feedback, and that feedback is valuable. But I do think like, because that's what it all boils down to, helping each other, right? So I'm trying to help people get from point A to point B. I want them to get results. I want them to live their best life. I want them to have fun and make money and all of those things. And so helping people, that's what it's all about. So building a community is super important in my mind. And then, and that's why I ended up making a school membership off the platform, because I wanted to get to know them even more, because it's very limited in the comments how much you get to know people. I mean, you see them there weekly or, on your videos all the time, but still it's very limited. So I wanted to get off of YouTube and be in a spot where I could actually meet these people on Zoom calls and all of that stuff. So so communities 100% important to me, for YouTube at least.
So true. And I love that. I loved when you started school. I've watched it grow. I took a little piece of that idea as well. Let's make it practical, because for somebody listening, it's so overwhelming, and I know we've talked about this. It can be so overwhelming to think about, where do I begin? What is my niche? What do I need to do? If someone's listening and just has 1 hour of time, what would you recommend they do first if they want to do this?
Post video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me more.
I would think of the 3 Ps. Like, what are you passionate about? What do you think your purpose is? And if you want to make this something that is a career, what do you think there's a market for? So use your knowledge. Like, what is something you could teach people? What is something you've been through in your life that you've overcome that you could teach other people? And just share that. Share what you learned, share like your experience and how you overcame that and how you're living something different than you were before, or, share basic knowledge about finance or whatever your industry that you were in, or relationships, whatever it is. I would just say, just get on and share in a way that's about the viewer, not about you. So it is your story, but it's relating to the viewer. And I think that's where a lot of people fall flat or like don't get it, I don't want to say right, but miss the target, is they just get on YouTube and talk about themselves. It's not about talking about yourself. It's like talking about yourself in order to help someone else. So you're using yourself as an example, or your clients as an example of how to get from one point to the other. But I would just find something you really enjoy talking about, about, or you're willing to learn about, so that you can just share what you're learning, like I did in the beginning. And eventually then you'll know about it and you don't have to learn about it. Well, you'll always continually learn, but then you'll have knowledge on that. Yeah, I would just say, find a topic you love to talk about and share it.
Yeah.
And then just bring it back to the viewer.
Bring it back to the viewer. So how do you do that? Like, what do you say to somebody who maybe thinks, okay, I want to talk about this topic, but they worry about, what do you tell your community when they worry about being judged or being criticized online? Because it's out there. We know that potentially going to happen. Or most likely going to happen.
Yeah, it does happen, especially the more you grow, the more it happens. I would say, one, there's 2 things. Okay, so if you are criticized and it really bothers you, then that is like an opportunity. This is where personal development comes in with YouTube. That is an opportunity to realize, why am I getting triggered by this? Because someone could say something to me like, your forehead's really big, right? Or your forehead is, because that was one of the comments I got, doesn't bother me. Like, I accept the way I look. I love the way I look. I love who I am, those types of things. But they said something to me once about how I talked about in a video, how I went I started putting my daughter in full time once this started to grow so that I could make this into a full-time business. And she was going from 3 hours of daycare to 7 hours of daycare in a day. And one comment was something about, you're a horrible mother. You're putting money before your child. And that hit me very hard because I was feeling guilty, very guilty about putting my daughter in daycare. And so like that hit me. And then I had to work through that. So that's the first thing I would say is notice if it's a trigger or not. And if it is a trigger, it's a great opportunity to learn more about yourself and reassess, like, why am I feeling this way? The other thing is that oftentimes your content is triggering someone else and they're not willing to look at that. So they're attacking you. You're making them feel uncomfortable. Like maybe you're doing YouTube and they wish they could do YouTube. Maybe you're saying something that really they don't agree with and it really triggers them. And so they're commenting. So, the whole thing, like hurt people, it's part of that too. But I do think in a way you can almost think of it as in a positive sense. Like if someone is being triggered by something, maybe they will learn from this. And, unfortunately, you're taking the brunt of it. But I usually just say, like, thanks for your comment, and I don't respond anymore. I will respond if I feel like the negative comment, they're maybe open to seeing a different perspective. If I see like they're not too far gone, like you can tell when someone is just like stuck in their ways, no interest in, like they just want to bash you. They don't even know you. They don't care. They're not coming back. Then I just say, thank you for your comment and move on. But if I see there's like a window of opportunity to maybe to give them a different perspective or shed light on the situation, then I will. Yeah. But oftentimes they never come back. I would say often, like more, like 99% of the time, they don't come back. They're just venting. Yeah. They're just letting it out. So I would say just most cases ignore it. Or if it, like I said, if it teaches you something, it teaches you something. But otherwise, I wouldn't let that stop you, because that's like letting someone you will never meet in your entire life stop you from living your dream. It's like, no, we're not doing that. We need to like, this is your life. This is your one chance to live. So do not let anyone stop you from doing what you want to do just because they want to say like you're ugly or you're too old or you're too this or that you're too that or you're a bad mother or whatever they say to you. No, like your life is meant to be lived and you don't want to let some stranger you will never meet stop you from doing that. Is my opinion.
I love that, Alexa. And you're so good at teaching that and reassuring people and giving them the confidence to still put themselves out there. And let me ask you this, what advantages, like I know you have a lot of folks in your community that are in midlife, like you talked about us, what advantages do people have over 40 and 50 that they can bring that they may not even realize? Like, oh, I'd love to do YouTube, but I don't even know where to start. I don't know what do I have to give?
Yeah. Oh gosh, we have so much to give.
You probably hear that.
We have
probably hear that a lot, right?
Yeah. We have lived experience, first of all. So we have tons of experience that we've lived through, and stuff that we know seems like second nature to us, doesn't seem special to us, is like gold to other people. Like they're just like, wow, how do you even know that? And it's like, you lived it, you went through it. Another part of our generation especially is we're very resilient. And we're not born in the like instant generation. Like my children are growing up where they have instant access to everything. Like, want to watch this video, want to watch this video. Like we had to wait for a series to come out. Like if we wanted to watch Friends, we'd have to wait a week for the next time Friends to come out, right? And it was only an hour long, and then it was done and it was gone. And we had commercials. We had to wait through commercials to watch things. And, like we just had to wait for things. So we're very good at waiting and resilient, and we have thick skin. Like life at this age, you have thick skin and you care less about what people think of you at a certain age. You just start to like realize, I've lived my life worrying about all of that, and that was a waste of time. And now I want to live for me. I feel like that's a big turning point in midlife. You're like, now's my turn. Like I spent my life people pleasing and doing all that, but now I'm like, I'm ready to live my life the way I want. So I think we have that going for us, which is definitely important, to come to YouTube and be able to stand in your own like 2 feet or in your own skin and be proud of it and look at your life and acknowledge all that you've been through. So yeah, the patience, the resilience, the ability to stand through something when because YouTube is a long-term game. It does take time to grow your channel. It does take time to find your niche. And the ability, I think, at this age also to reflect, like to look in the mirror and see like, why do I feel this way? Why am I stopping myself? Why? Like the ability to be curious about yourself also is a great skill to bring to YouTube, because then you'll be like, why am I stopping myself? There's no reason to stop myself. There's a million people out there that are doing YouTube. Why can't I do it? So yeah, I think those are just some of the things, but we bring a lot to YouTube, I think.
So good. I know you've talked a lot about, you mentioned Sean Cannell's Think Media. You mentioned, over time, I've heard you talk about getting your own coach and doing that? Like what kind of value has that brought to you, and how, people maybe seeking help on YouTube, what's that going to do for them?
Yeah, I think it's invaluable. I really do. Like the Sean Cannell's course, I totally credit that with my early success because I had no idea how to start YouTube. And
Yeah.
like he just gave you the blueprint. He gave a lot of information. So even if you just
Yeah.
implemented like 5% of his information, which is probably what I did, you go farther faster because you have that knowledge. Having an education of how things work in general is always a good idea.
Yeah.
With coaches, I really think you get so much out of it because it's personalized. When you work with someone one-on-one, they see your fears, they see what you're not willing to face. They can call you out on things. They can also reflect back to you what you're saying. So you can be like, wait, actually, I don't believe that. Like, why did I say that? Like those types of things, those moments.
Yeah. So important.
Yeah. And they can like, instead of walking rung by rung up the ladder or step by step up the stairs, we can jump to different floors because of their knowledge, because they already walked that path and they're already, maybe light years ahead of us or just a few steps ahead of us. But either way, they can just pull us to that step because they're like, no, don't waste time on that. That's not going to get you where you want to go. This will get you where you want to go. And I think that is so invaluable. It's like, it's just, and I would say, especially with my business mentor, he opened my mind to possibilities that I never even saw possible. Like I never even believed that, like, one, what I could charge. That was like just a woof. And helped me to get over the hurdles of guilt or like, all these, there's just so many things that my mentors have really helped with. And I recently just hired a new mentor, which is more in the spiritual realm, because I want to bring spirituality and alignment and soul purpose and speak about it more on my channel. And that's one place I've been hiding. It comes out every once in a while when I get frustrated. I let it out, like full on out. And I let it out the other day, like 2 days ago on my channel. And it's like, it always feels so good. And I get so many great comments like, yes, this is why I follow you. This is why I'm here, when I show that side of myself. And so having that mentor, especially a spiritual mentor, like when I talk to her, I don't feel crazy. Like if I talk about my spiritual stuff to the everyday person, I might feel a little nuts. You know what I mean? Or if I put it on my channel, I might get some of those negative comments. And that's like a trigger for me, like, because I'm still like on the fence of like, should I show this side or not? But when you have that mentor there, they're like, of course, that's you. Show it. Like that is you. Show up that way. Or you are worth this. You should charge this. You should do this. And it's just like, they're like that cheerleader that you have inside yourself, but you need another one. You need someone outside yourself to like, be like, this is worth it. Go for it, because it's so scary, like when going into the unknown, going into uncomfortable places, but having that person next to you that's done it before you and says it is scary, but it's going to be awesome. It's so, I love my mentors so much.
That is so good.
Yeah.
See, I agree with you. I couldn't imagine. Now, what do you say? Where do people start? How can they find you? If someone says, I want to start a YouTube channel, gosh, I really align with what Alexa's saying here. What's the best place to start?
Well, I would say just go to my channel and start watching videos. It's just my name, Alexa Saarenoja, which is so easy to spell and all and remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe think twice about how you name your channel. But all the information of how you can connect with me is in all my videos, below my video in the description. But I would start there. Like, just watch my videos, see if you resonate, apply what you learn, get that as far as it gets you. And then if you want more, you go deeper with me. You maybe buy my course, you may become coaching with me, go to a group program. There's so many options. But that's where they can start. So many
options. I think when I first found you on YouTube, first of all, I was like, this is the person. And I so aligned with you. You're so human, you're so human, you're so real. And to just get on and have that conversation, you guys, you would know. You'll know right away. And you do. Alexa, speak to this a little bit. I think you do have to find someone who fits you. Not everybody fits you, right? You have to find a place where you feel seen and heard and valued, and somebody who gets what you're doing and has walked the walk. That's where you don't have to have a master's degree in it. They've just had to have done it and done it well, and have some, I think I saw, and have some testimonials and people, anybody in the community, which I'm part of. And I just love hopping on those Q&A sometimes and just hearing everybody. I don't speak up a lot, but I get to learn. I've learned so much just from listening, and being part of that community. It feels like family, and you've created that. So I think Well, anyway, I could rattle on for days, but go find somebody. If they search, I know if they search Alexa, you come right to the top. But if they're looking for mentors or how to do YouTube, how can they sift through? Because this is something I struggled with before I found Sean Cannell, before I found you. How do they sift through the noise?
I think you'll know. I feel like if you there's lots of ways to know. I don't tend to watch any YouTube videos that are like super over the top, dramatic titles. Make $1 million in the next 10 minutes. Like, I'll never watch a video like that. Like, I just don't watch videos that seem so untrue, or where the thumbnails are just so like attention, just over the top. I avoid things that are over the top. Like I
like unrealistic.
Yeah,
right?
unrealistic, extreme.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Really neon colors, like, wow.
Totally.
It's just not, I'm like, can I just see a real person? So I'm more like, you'll know based on what you're drawn to. I think the way the person represents themselves, you can click into a video and just watch them and like feel right away whether you resonate with them. I would trust your gut more than anything else.
Okay.
And also, if you learn something, like a lot of people on YouTube will tell you what to do, but they don't tell you how to do it. And so those videos are very annoying to watch. It's like, well, you need to do this, 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 and this to be successful. It's like, but how do I do this, 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 and this? And I think they're the ones that hold their cards close to their chest and will like, well, I'll tell you how, but you need to buy this program. I tend to not gravitate towards those people. Like I really, like, that's why I like Sean Cannell. He gives so much information, and he doesn't ask for anything in return. He has things he sells, of course, but if you want to go deeper with him, then you can. Or if you want to know more, you go deeper with him, right? But so I think, and if you are looking for mentors or coaches, like I found my business mentor because I was looking at creating a school community. So I was looking at the different school communities on YouTube growth and stuff like that. And then I stumbled upon him, and he had like a 14-day free trial. So I was like, oh, I'll just pop in there. And he had a free call with that 14-day trial. So I got a call with him, and I knew nothing about him. I didn't know his socials. I didn't do any research. But just in the call, he gave me so much value in a free call that I was just like, oh my gosh, this guy's awesome. I want to hire him to help me. And so that's it too. Like, if people give you so much value, if they make you feel seen and heard and understand your situation, and they express it well, and they express things better than you can express it yourself, that's when you know you found the right person. I feel like, I don't know if that helps.
It helps so much. And, we've covered a lot of meaningful ground here. And I think we've given our listeners a lot to understand and be able to find what they're looking for, especially those thinking, kind of sitting in the background and saying, I want to do this. I don't even know where to begin. So thank you for that. We've covered a lot. Before we wrap up, I want to do a little bit of fun. We have a 60-second drawer dash, we call it. It's like rapid fire questions. And we just take a minute, say the first thing that comes to your mind. Are you game to join us?
Yeah, of course.
All right, let's do it. So, morning person or night owl?
Morning. Yeah.
Coffee? You're like,
it depends how early, because my kids wake up at 4 sometimes. So like, definitely not a morning person then.
Yeah. It depends on the time of morning. I get that totally. So coffee, tea, or something uniquely Finnish?
Coffee, which is very Finnish.
Very Finnish. Do they have their own coffee?
No, they just drink the most in the world. They drink the most coffee in the world per person. Yeah.
Do they have multiple coffee shops, like little nooks and places you can go to?
It's so simple here. It's like coffee is... It's not even fancy coffee. It's like you could think of like Folgers in the U.S. It's like the most basic coffee, but everyone loves their coffee. It's like, it doesn't need to be fancy. It doesn't need to be in a fancy coffee shop. It could be at the gas station. It could be at like the office. It's just coffee all the time.
It's just Finnish coffee. I love that.
Strong.
One video. Strong. I love a strong man. Anyway, we could go down that path. One video you're proud of, even if it didn't perform well.
Video I'm proud of. I would say, I can't remember the title of it, but it was something like "Walk Through Fire" was the title on the thumbnail, and it was just about.
I remember that one.
Yeah, it was just my most raw video, and it got pretty good views, but the comments and the way it helped people just and the way it helped me it just was my favorite video by far. Yeah, most vulnerable too.
Yeah, really. Because I mean, you're so good at, you are always very vulnerable. I think you're very genuine and so honest and forthright out there. Like, that's what I love.
It was such a sensitive topic that I was afraid I might offend people that have been through that experience. I was afraid they would take it wrong because I was
Okay.
I was powering through something that very difficult. So yeah.
All right, you guys, go watch that one. That'll give you a really good insight to Alexa. So, what's a belief that you had to let go of to become who you are today? Yeah.
That life is malicious. I think that life is benevolent. I think that life gives you exactly what you need. And I discovered that through spirituality, to be honest. I did all the self-development courses, books, everything in my life. And not until I became more spiritually connected did I realize that life is really just giving you exactly what you need to move forward. It's just whether or not
Love
you
that.
take it that way. Like, I don't believe there's any victims or blaming or anything like that. It's like, okay, what can I learn from this experience and move forward? That I think, and that trusting life, like trusting that life will lead you where you need to go if you pay attention and take action. And that's totally been my experience. So yeah. That.
I love that. What do you do to reset when you feel overwhelmed? So many of us feel this. What do you do to reset?
Nature bathing, as they call it in Finland, or I just go to the woods. I just go for a walk in the woods in nature. Yeah.
I've never heard that, nature bathing.
Yeah.
You guys.
Yeah.
Love
And
that.
it's like you just go in there and like absorb the energy of the nature.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about it so often. I love the term like that, just get out and walk, just get outside. And one thing that people might be surprised to know about you.
Oh, I married a Finnish man. I don't know. That's not very special.
Yeah. I feel
or that
like
I
that's
live in
special,
Finland. Most people don't realize I live in Finland. So
yeah. I agree with that. That's what I would say for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So like now we've transitioned into all of our guests, we ask them to give our listeners a tiny dare. And so it's kind of my favorite part of the show because part of, our listeners here are all looking to reinvent. They've either done it, they looking for the next thing. They're saying, what now? I don't know how to get there. This is kind of where our guests always offer just one simple, maybe doable action, something they could do today to build clarity, courage, or momentum. So what would a tiny dare be from you, Alexa?
I would say to this is something you could either make a video about or you could journal about if you didn't want to make a video about it, would be to like ask yourself, what do I want to say if there was no risk of anyone being offended or like keyboard warriors or anything, like anyone being upset about it? Like what is the thing I want to say if there was no inhibitions, nothing blocking it? Like that's what I would journal that. Like, what is it that really needs to be heard from me? Like that wants to come out of my heart. That's what I would say, and really learn what that is by like putting yourself in that mode of like, this won't have any negative repercussions. What would I say or share with the world?
I love that.
Yeah.
And that I feel like could also be a good platform to maybe your niche and what you're really passionate about. I love that. Okay, listeners, you heard it. So your tiny dare this week is just, you can journal it or like Alexa said, make a video about it. What do I want to share? What do I want to share? That if there were no repercussions whatsoever. Alexa, gosh, thank you for making the time and doing this redo or this do-over with me. Round two. Yep. Thank you so much for bringing, as always, honesty, clarity, encouragement to this conversation. You didn't just talk about YouTube. You gave people permission to believe that they're not too late and it's okay. And they have something to bring to the table. And everybody listening, here's your thought for the week. What if the future version of you is waiting on the video you haven't made yet? Until next time, clean out the drawer, retire one belief, and take one brave step toward whatever it is that serves you and that brings you passion and comes from your heart. Until then, see ya. All right, Sock Drawer family, that's a wrap on today's Drawer Dump. Big thanks to our guests for sharing their story and their heart with us. Until next time. Don't forget, life's too short for mismatched socks. Retire the ones with holes, inspire the ones that still shine. See you soon.